Hey, what's up? I'm Mike Squires. This is Couchers Podcast, episode number 151. My guest, Vicky Warwick, a very talented session and touring bassist, as well as she makes her own music under the name Ainslie. Go check that out. Check out her website, sheplaysbass.com. Also at She Plays Bass for her social media. She's launching this week. It's the week of February 7, 2021, for those living in the distant future. She's launching a podcast this week, and it is called Where Are We Now? And it features her friends from the touring world at sharing their tour stories. I can't wait to hear that. There's also an accompanying blog that she wrote. That's how it started, as a blog. I had a great time talking with Vicky. She's killer. She shredded the bass on the Cherub Rock episode of Couch Riffs, and jumped right to it. We were introduced by Ty Bailey, who's been in a couple videos or has been in one and is about to be in another super killer one. Yeah, I had a great time talking with her. I hope you enjoy this conversation as much as I did. If you do, please consider supporting us on Patreon, patreon.com/couchriffs. That's the only place where you can download the audio for all the cover songs that we record. There's some other cool things over there. I always leak out what's going on there a day or two before as well. Also, what else? Thank you to everyone who supports there. I really appreciate it. Thank you to River City Guitars. River City Guitars is a fancy little guitar store in Spokane, Washington. Follow them, rivercityguitars.com. Follow them at River City Guitars on social media. Every day is a buying day over there. You know, if you're sitting on something that's just collecting dust, they don't just deal in vintage. They deal in just generally cool used stuff and some new boutique-y stuff, you know? So if you've got some cool stuff, hit them up. This is the only place where you're going to, well, one of the very few places where you're going to be able to buy one of these Marvin CN90 guitars that I co-designed with Keith over there at Marvin Guitars. So that's something. Get a hold of them at 509-818-7693 or sales.rivercityguitars@gmail.com. Send them a photo of what you're selling. Tell them I sent you. They're close, dear friends. I love them. They'll take good care of you. Thank you, River City Guitars, for your support. Now, don't forget the golden rule. Treat people the way you want to be treated, and the world will be a brighter place for you and me. Don't be a dick. Hello.
Hi.
It's such a party behind you.
I know. I was thinking so much about this earlier. It's so funny now, isn't it, with like Zoom? I was thinking like, is this really the best place? But it is. It's like you go somewhere slightly different and you've got a shit background or you've got shit light or something.
I mean, I've got a little bit of all of that going on.
I like yours. I mean, actually, I listened earlier to your chat with Kirk, and you were saying how you were like, you made an effort to like move from like your bed to like put the guitars behind you, which I see looks really good.
And it's good, you know. It's a whole whatever. I mean, it's an ongoing battle because, you know, you have to carve out space. Everyone's home now. You got to carve out space to do your thing. You know, we got 2 dogs. My wife is typically around. She's in the city right now. There goes one of my dogs off my lap. And, you know, we have a sliding door. I can almost touch it from here. And, you know, we thought that it would help with the sound bleed, but I mean, you could drop a feather on the other side of the door and it would sound like a kick drum.
That's it. It's really tricky, isn't it? You've just got to find little corners of your house that can.
Maybe I'll get a yurt. Maybe I'll get
a summer.
Yeah. I mean, there's so many farm trucks that drive up right, like so close to our yard.
Oh,
It's loud outside actually.
yeah.
Sometimes it's pretty sweet up here though. We moved into this little town and then a year later they put in a trail like a
Oh,
quarter of
lovely.
a mile from our house that goes along the river. It's just like amazing.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Beautiful. Can you hear me all right and everything?
I
It's lovely to properly meet you, by the way, and say
can
hi.
hear you very well. Yeah. And it looks like I'm getting a good amount of signal here. So, yeah,
I've
it's great to
set
meet you
my
too.
yeah, yeah. I've set my mic up, so I'm recording as well, but I think
Oh,
my
great.
mic is routed through Zoom, so I don't know how if that technically it's meant to work, but just in case it doesn't, then I'm recording it on Logic as well, if that's helpful.
Awesome. No, that's perfect. Uh, I should probably thank Ty off the top for introducing us.
Yes, yes,
He's uh he's a master
yeah, yeah,
and
and
a
the
lovely guy.
sweetest. Yeah, yeah. No, I'm very glad he linked us up.
You
Yeah.
guys have played together?
I don't know that we actually have played together. Now I think about it, have we? No, we met on that on that tour on the when he was it was his first tour with Katy Perry, um, that we met. I was opening with Charli XCX, and that was it. Yeah, we just stayed
Yeah.
friends ever since. So
Yeah, he's a good dude.
yeah.
Uh, I have to ask you, is bass your first instrument?
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah.
Really?
Um, yeah, I started off, like there was always a keyboard at home that my uncle would have donated to me and taught me a little bit of. But yeah, bass was my first instrument. I always kind of felt like I was searching for what my instrument was, and at school age, people are doing band and picking up the flute and things like that. But
You never went for any of that.
I never went for any of that. No,
You're
no,
just like, give me that fucking bass.
yeah.
That's amazing. I was there something that inspired you to want to pick up the bass, or was it just appealing that it was like a relatively giant instrument?
um, the thing, yeah, not. I mean, yeah, that's the thing. In hindsight, I really shouldn't have picked up the bass. Yeah, it's a giant instrument that's not really meant for a 5'2" person with hands as small as mine. But
To be working out okay.
it's working out all right. I discovered short scale basses, and that was it. Never looked back. So yeah, no, it was a friend I went to what we'd call primary school. Before you go to middle school, we ended up going to different middle school. Well, it wasn't middle school; it was a secondary school. But at that age, one of my best friends, we went separate ways at school. So she started a band, and after we split ways, and asked me to join. So yeah, that was like our way of still hanging out. And yeah, asked me to join, but it was the classic thing of how people end up playing bass. There was nothing else for me to do, so it got thrust into my hands, and
It seems like a common story.
I know, which is I was just a shame, but I don't think I even knew what a bass was. I think I just thought like I didn't grow up in a musical family. I had no idea what it was. I was just like, oh, this is a cool guitar, and I can like play it with my thumb, and like I can get a sound out of it like real quick. So that was it. Yeah, it was appealing, and I just fell in love with it immediately.
What was that band like? Were you guys doing cover songs? Were you guys writing songs?
Yeah, we were writing songs. Yeah, when I joined, they had already written a song. I remember it was called Rain. It was I don't know about the rain, I guess. And so yeah, I guess that's what you write about when you're like 12. Um, I'm sure it was about some young feelings,
Sure.
adolescence, but yeah, so it was writing songs and yeah, and then like a lot of like Chili Peppers covers. That's the vibe.
I'm gonna switch my Wi-Fi signals because this happens to me every time. It's an embarrassment, and I'm so
Yeah,
ashamed that
me
I'm not
too,
gonna edit this
actually.
out. Well, I restart my computer before every episode, and so I have to reset all of my presets.
Yeah,
The one thing that I
yeah.
perpetually screw up is that I connect to the wrong Wi-Fi signal. So hold tight. It might get a little funny. Like you're
I will also
okay.
do that.
So I think we should be good now. I hope that we're good now. So wait a minute. You mean to tell me straight out of the gate, you're 12 years old and you're playing in an original band, but on the occasion that you play covers, you're tackling flea bass lines?
Yeah, that was it. For whatever reason, I remember she just had you get the songbooks
Yeah.
for guitar or whatever, the sheet music, and she had the Californication sheet music book. For it was probably for guitar, so I wasn't even really maybe looking at that for tabs, but yeah, that's what she would learn on guitar, my friend. And then yeah, that was it. I had to tackle some flea stuff, but yeah, I'm trying to think what songs. I think it was Californication was actually the first Chili song that I learned, which kind of is like a not the most straightforward bass line, but I don't know. I don't remember.
He doesn't really do straightforward.
No, it's a really cool bass line though. Actually, I haven't played that in years. I should pick it up, but yeah. But yeah, and it was also things like Sabbath and Pink Floyd, and actually one of the first songs I learned to play though was maybe slightly. I say it's more simple, but I've tried to teach it in bass lessons now, and it always trips people up. Is maybe you won't know her so well, Kylie Minogue.
Sure.
You know, Kylie. It's the song called "Can't Get You Out of My Head," and it's just like two open strings on the bass. So I think it's pretty straightforward, but the rhythm is all on the offbeats. Um, yeah, that was one of the first songs I learned to play. Yeah, yeah, eclectic mix.
Did Kylie Minogue she had a hit in the 80s and then had a big comeback, right?
Yeah, she had a hit with "I Should Be So Lucky." That was her big like 80s hit, I guess. And then yeah, I guess through the kind of like late 90s, early noughties, yeah, she just was great. That's a point actually. She must have had a lull somewhere in the early 90s. I don't know, but I
Did she
I love
date
I
Nick
love her.
Cave?
That's a great question. I don't know.
For some reason, I think that they were a couple, but
We'll have to
I
Google that.
I might be making that up. I make a
That
lot of
seems a
stuff.
little bit too cool for Kylie Minogue. Not to diss
I
Kylie, but
remember thinking it seemed very unusual, but what the fuck do I know? Nothing, depending on who you ask.
they might have had a beautiful chemistry, which just none of us will ever be able to
That's the
understand.
thing. You just don't know. So what was your band called? At 12 years old, what was the name that you guys came up with?
Oh God, you know what? I don't even know that we had a name. That's a
Really?
really good question. We must have had a name. That
Yeah.
seems like the first thing like a group of girls that age would do. I don't know.
You
I
were an
don't know.
all girl band.
Yeah, it was an all girl
Awesome.
band. Yeah, it was fun, and that was never even like a conscious thing. It didn't even like feel punk at the time. It was just that was just they were just the people I hung out with, and we did music. So yeah, it was cool. It was this pair of twins that always did every talent show competition at school growing up. Um, they were singers, so yeah, they were singing. Yeah, my friend Susie on guitar, my friend Grania on drums. Yeah, it was just that was just our group,
Do you know if
and
they're all still playing music? Are you in touch with any of them?
yeah, I'm still best friends with Susie, the girl that who started the band. Yeah, I mean her family are really musical.
Oh, that's amazing.
She yeah, so she I think she probably maybe picks up the guitar from time to time, but not really. Yeah, no, and maybe with the twins they might still sing a little bit. I'm not in touch with them, but yeah, I think yeah, I'm the only one that's still doing it.
So, was there ever a time when you thought that this wasn't the path you were going to take?
Not really.
You
Just
knew pretty
yeah.
immediately.
Well, I think around probably the age of like 15, 16 was when, at that age, so in the UK, you can technically leave school when you're 16. Um, and around, and around even before that, when you're 14, you have to choose your subjects in school. So you can choose whether you're going to do art or music, or, you don't have to do everything. Um, So from quite a young age at school, you're like consciously thinking about, well, like everybody is, but like you're thinking about what you're gonna want to do. And then when you're 16, you can leave and go to um, like a community college and do a course in just one subject, or you can go like get an apprenticeship to be like, a car mechanic, or you stay or go to a different school and do these things called A levels. So you choose just 4 subjects then from when you're 16 to 18. So
What
so
for
yeah, I
subjects
guess.
like what? You mean like scholastics, like academics?
So you can choose anything. So for example, I did psychology, media studies, art, and music. But other people might choose, biology, French,
Right.
something like that. So yeah, you choose just these 4 subjects, yeah, and then you drop one subject after the first year. So yeah, you can choose to be quite focused in what you want to do, and you do, yeah, have to kind of think about those things when
I
you're
know
around
that
that
this is a
age.
little bit of a sidestep, but this is really interesting to me because even though I know that the school system is different in the UK, I don't I don't really, I mean, until right now, I didn't know
Yeah,
the
yeah,
difference really.
yeah, yeah.
You hear about uh Pete Townsend talk about going to art school, but that just to me that's like, oh, Art Institute or some shit. I don't know.
Yeah, yeah.
But this is what he's talking about. Yes.
Yeah, and even with college, here in America, it seems that most people, at least spend a year doing kind of general studies and then choose their major. But in the UK, you choose your major before you go, and that's what you do. Only that for the 3 years that you're in college. So
And
yeah,
there's little option to change.
I mean, there is, but it's not super normal that people would change.
Right.
So, yeah, from quite a young age, you're having to have make these decisions about what you think you want to be when you grow up.
Did you like
You know,
that system?
I
Because I
guess I
don't
just
think
didn't
our
know any
system
different.
works great.
I think in hindsight, I was speaking about this with somebody the other day, and I think it's obviously around that age, and even when you're older, it is really hard to know what you want to do with your life, what you want to do with yourself.
Trying to
So
figure it out.
so I think I always felt really lucky that I just knew music was what I wanted to do, and if it wasn't going to be that, it was going to be photography. So I was, even though both those things are stupid, um, I knew that was what I wanted,
Yeah.
and I remember consciously, yeah, being thankful that I knew, because for a lot of people it was hard to choose, and for that reason maybe it isn't the best system. I think perhaps here, having to stay in school till you're 18, and then if when you do go to college, if you go to college, you get that first year to kind of figure things out. But I think a lot of people in the UK do. I would say a lot of people. Some people do what's called a gap year. So in between, if you finish your A levels, you're 18 and you still don't really know what you want to do at college or anything. A lot of people go like traveling for a year, or like work for half the year, save up money, and then go
Go backpack or
backpacking
whatever.
in, yeah, East Asia and Australia, and hopefully find themselves and figure it out.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that a lot of times people are pretty burned out by the time they get done with high school here.
Yeah. And sometimes that's it. That's another reason for taking that year. Like, even if you do know what you want, like, studying for exams or like doing intense academic work, yeah,
Right.
it can be a lot. So
And so you went and took your 4, then 3 courses over the last 2 years until you were 18, and then you went to music school?
yeah,
You did?
yeah.
What kind of music school did you attend?
It's called, well, at the time it was called Tech Music Schools. So it was a small music school that the degree was accredited by a bigger university, but the school itself was a small school that did a couple of courses and a degree course in either you take it in your instrument, so either drums, bass, guitar, vocals, or keyboards. Now they're part of a bigger university called BIM, and they also offer things like music business, like focus music business degrees, or production, all kinds of things. So
Yeah.
yeah, but I essentially did a degree in bass.
A degree in bass.
Yeah, which is
Did you
funny.
study upright bass as well, or was it
I didn't.
strictly electric? You have a degree in electric bass.
Yeah, it's really weird. Popular music performance is the title of it, but yeah. So you do things like arranging and production and like other things. I guess I'm sure it's very similar to like what people do at Berkeley here or
Right.
Musicians Institute. But yeah, so like my first paper was about Prince and Purple Rain, which was I just thought was great.
He was a wicked bass player.
Well, I just mentioned to you that that I listened to your interview with Kirk, and I was listening to that whole story about the guitar, which is incredible. But you mentioned that in that episode, and actually, I meant to look it up, but it's on my list. Yeah, that will be on
I'm
my watch
repeating
list.
myself. This is a sign of getting old.
Sorry,
No,
I'm drawing attention to that. But no, but yeah, I must check out that video you mentioned.
I'll find it and I'll send you the link, and I'll put the
Yeah,
link in the show notes if I,
yeah.
I always say I'm going to do things in the show notes, but I'm never taking notes. So I don't
You have
ever.
to, yeah, you have to
So you know what? I won't
do.
put it in the show notes for anyone listening right now. Use your search engine. It's easy.
Just Google what Prince bass solo.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
Slap bass. No,
he's insane.
he was wicked.
Yeah,
It's great.
yeah.
And there are a few instances you can find. There's a handful of really great videos of him
Mm-hmm.
playing. But he
Yeah,
could do anything.
yeah. I mean, he's just a
The greatest.
yeah genius. That
So that was your
story was
first paper.
incredible, though. Say again.
That was your first paper.
That was my first paper. Yeah,
What did you say about Prince?
I was just saying that story was incredible with Kirk's guitar.
I knew
I
that.
feel like I knew there was a story, but I didn't know the details of it. So just listening to that.
Can you even imagine where, I mean, what a prick, right?
I think he was a bit of a prick, wasn't he? I feel like I've heard a few stories,
Oh yeah. Oh
but
yeah. He
you
was a
know,
total prick, but
yeah,
he was a perfectionist control freak, but he was the greatest.
yeah. And it sounds like
And
he, even if he was a prick, he maybe was aware of it and like paid for the guitar to get fixed or whatever.
well, he should have.
Yeah, yeah. It would have been worse if he was just like, okay, thanks, bye. But at least he did
Right.
cover his
I
damages.
think
But
I would
yeah,
let Prince break any one of my guitars probably. So long as
the
I could film.
right.
Yeah.
And if he asks you first, is it more rude? I think the whole story, the fact that he wanted to buy the guitar, is the thing that's the issue, right?
Yeah, no, that's where it gets kind of
Yeah.
sketchy.
If he just did it like in the moment, it's kind of like, okay, that's a bit weird, but cool. But yeah, the fact that he wanted to buy it.
And he said no, and then he was like, all right, well, fuck you.
Right, right,
If I
right.
can't have you.
But that's great. I love it. Like you, that's what you want from a rock star, right? That's
I suppose so.
yeah.
What about the Oasis guys? They, I mean, this, what a weird tangent, but they were huge in the papers, right? And
Yeah.
all over the news in the UK. They're big here,
Mm-hmm.
but there, it's a whole other machine,
Yeah.
right? They're in the fucking daily papers and stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I wonder how much of it is, put on a little bit. But yeah, obviously Noel and Liam are just always falling out, and the thing in the UK was, Oasis versus Blur, and just all the,
Right.
it's pantomime. I'm sure their record labels were encouraging it.
Was Blur as big as Oasis in the UK?
I don't know.
Because they were not as big as Oasis
Yeah,
here.
I think that's it. I think Oasis probably, arguably, are the bigger band, but yeah, they were definitely like, pitted against each other as being rivals, and who's the best and who's the most popular. But yeah, you're right. Probably it was Oasis. Mostly, I don't. I feel like musicians might say Blur though, like
I mean, some people might say Blur because they prefer Blur's music
yeah,
or whatever.
they're pretty different, truly.
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
they're way more like I use some old man terms. They were edgier. They were more, really, they were more interesting
mm.
and more like artsy.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
Oasis, great craft, great songwriting. And I even like the High Flying Birds. I think that record is, I don't know if he put out a bunch of records, but I have one of them and it's great.
yeah, yeah. I should do. To be fair, I don't know if I've done a huge Oasis dive. I probably should. I was definitely more of a Blur fan, but yeah.
I watched the Oasis movie on a flight once and
Oh yeah, I've seen that.
it didn't
Supersonic.
make me like them anymore. That's
They're not likable. I do think we're heading out of this era of rock stars. I think we want everybody to be likable now, don't we? And I feel that too, especially now with social media. It's like you really can see a glimpse of what an artist is like, and I
right.
always think that about bands like that. They I don't know how well they do now, but again, like I said with Prince, you do want that in a rock star. Like you don't want them to be super nice and super relatable. Like that is kind of the point, right?
They're on a stage.
Yeah,
You want the folks that you look up to have this unattainable level of being,
yeah,
right? That's why people uh dive into religion,
yeah,
because it's, it's same thing.
yeah.
It's idol worship. Uh Boy,
I think
that
Bowie
got
did it
weird
best,
quick.
though. Yeah, just so many tangents. Um, yeah, no, I think Bowie did it best, though. He's godly, but has this just you have so much respect for him.
I listened to Black Star today for the first time in a long time, and I went back and forth on it a lot, in the last 4 years.
Mm.
But it is fucking incredible, you know? And then I decided I'm gonna go back and listen to some of his records from the 90s and the 2000s and see the ones that I didn't pay attention to,
Mm-hmm.
other than the singles. And the thing is, They're all great. And the thing that is amazing about him is that he was very aware of what was going on in music and art and culture at any given time during his life. And he absorbed it, adopted it, and then, reflected himself in it. Rather, and it didn't seem like he was trying to think of like an artist that felt like Kiss did I Was Made for Loving You. It was like a disco song. It's like
Yeah.
it doesn't sound like you guys. It sounds like you guys doing a disco song with a group of songwriters, probably. But you know, he was a part of everything that was going on. He wasn't trying to keep up.
Yeah. Yeah, he just remained in the culture. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, he is just one of the few true artists, I think.
Holy shit. The hair on my arm's standing up right now.
It
Like,
really is though, and it's not like I wouldn't even call myself like a huge Bowie fan, but I just have so much respect for him, and just to think about all those. Yeah, I just think he's just such a good example of being a true artist. And one of my friends, Sterling Campbell, is a drummer who used to play for him, and so he just tells me all these little stories, these little tidbits about him. Oh, David says this, and he just speaks so highly of him, and it's just wonderful to hear that he was just like such a cool human whilst being completely otherworldly.
right.
Yeah, it's people like that that really make you think about these people are truly gifted. I think for a while I always used to think, oh well, these people are famous or are in this position because they're just super hard workers, but which is true, of course you have to work hard as well, but I do think, yeah, people like Prince or people like Bowie are just gifts.
Their minds are in different places.
Yeah.
I don't think they even think about things, common things or uncommon things, the same as other people.
Yeah. No, different wavelength.
You ever imagine what it would be like if you could, you know, experience the way someone else's mind works for even 5 minutes? Sometimes I think it would make me go insane.
Yeah. And I think that's probably why a lot of artists do go insane, right? And do maybe die young, and because it must be, yeah, must be very strange to be gifted like that and to think on that level, and actually so many other people just can't meet you there, right?
It seems like I mean, a high number of musicians have substance problems anyway, but a lot of the people who are most highly revered and have sort of the highest level of musical output have really gnarly drug problems. Um, and there's an argument that can be made that that is a byproduct of the boredom of touring, the the tedium of every Groundhog's Day on the road, but
Yeah.
um, I don't know if that's completely it. I think
Yeah.
I don't know. Yeah, what the
Yeah.
fuck do I know? We already established this, right? Hey, so you're in London. That's where you went to school.
Yeah.
And so where did you grow up before you went to school? Where were you living as a kid?
So as a kid, I mainly grew up about an hour north of London in a town called St Neots in Cambridgeshire. So yeah, it's just like a very
What's the
normal,
closest town where a rock band would play?
probably Cambridge.
I played
Yeah,
there.
yeah, yeah, or Peterborough. No, Cambridge. Yeah, but you know, I was just going to London a lot. That you just hop on the train, you're there in less than an hour,
Yeah.
and that's it. Yeah, just pop to London. So it's great.
Were you so you didn't have to, I mean, you didn't have to go far to go to school. People go all the way across the country here, and
Yeah.
it's a it's quite a distance.
Mm. Yeah, it's
Um,
funny now, like being in Los Angeles and thinking back to when I was like 18 and thinking that, you know, maybe going to school in Liverpool would have been really far, you know.
right.
But yeah.
So you say you could hop on a train and be in London. Would you go and see shows as a kid when you were
Yeah.
what kind
Yeah,
of
I
shows were you
mean,
going to see?
I'm trying to think the first band that came to my head is a band called Trivia.
Trivium,
Yeah, I'm trying to think of
a
stuff I
metal
went to
band.
before. Yeah, I'm trying to think of stuff I went to like before I was 18. I remember that was definitely like one of the bands that like before I was 18 I like went up on my own and it was like a big deal, like, you know.
You went by yourself.
Well, with my boyfriend at the
Oh,
time.
yeah.
But yeah, that was like a big deal, like, oh my gosh, we're gonna go to London, you know, by ourselves.
That's a big
um
deal.
yeah, but I was lucky there was a lot of shows, not obviously big bands, but in my hometown, like it was a good music scene when I was growing up, and I'm sure that obviously had a big part on my development as a musician because there was a lot of local bands and people just did a lot of DIY shows. Like people would put on a night at the rugby club was the main one, or the football club, or you know some other kind of like hall that you can rent, and just bring a PA system and put on your own show.
That's awesome.
Yeah. So I feel really lucky that that was happening. I don't know if, well, obviously not at the moment, but I don't know if that's still happening in my hometown. But yeah, it was really cool.
How long was the school program?
3 years.
3. And I assume I mean, part of the curriculum was gigging.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, less so like that you had to do gigs outside of school, but yeah, once a week there was a live performance workshop, and yeah, you learn a song and play it, and the teachers assess you.
And were the other students in the room as well?
Yeah, so you like go up with, all right, Vicky, you're up, and Tim, you're up on drums, and whatever. So you hope that you get called with the drummer that you like, or
Right.
the singer that you like.
Oh, it was like that. It was that the
Yeah,
teacher chose the randomness.
yeah,
Would they
yeah,
just give you sheet music and say, "All right, here you guys go"?
yeah, yeah. They did give us sheet music actually. Yeah, they gave us sheet music, and then one week it was like, okay, we're not going to give you the sheet music. You got to learn it by ear. Um, and yeah, that was it. And then off you go, and then you
That
just
must have
play
been
it.
an incredible period of growth, not just because of the courses that you were taking, but because of the environment and being around other people.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. And became obvious so quickly that it really depended who you were getting up and playing with as well, right? Like if you get up with a drummer who has forgotten the structure, then
Right.
that's it. You're gonna get a bad mark. Like, well, hopefully they marked us fairly, but yeah, and then like overcoming those challenges, actually, then it becomes about like, okay, well, do I know my part well enough to help cue the drummer or whoever, or if we will get lost, can we pull it back again? Um, so yeah, and even things just like I think it was like kind of our like progressive rock semester, and it was things like my teacher telling me how to have better stage presence. Like you
You
need
just wear a
you need
cape
to
and a
like get a
wizard's
rock
hat, right?
stance. Say it again.
Just wear a cape and a wizard's hat, right?
It's funny you say that. Wizard is actually one of my tour nicknames.
Is that right?
Yeah. So yeah, always up for a wizard cape. Yeah, big
Wonderful.
big part of my look.
Nice. Uh, and so did you stick around London for a while after you finished?
Yeah, yeah. So that was it. after I finished college, I stayed in London and lived in London for a while, and then ended up moving out to New York, and now I'm in Los Angeles.
How long were you in New York, and when?
I was in New York for like 2 years, like properly, but kind of like 2.5, 3 unofficially. Yeah.
Did you play a bunch when you were here?
Yeah, I did. Yeah, I did a lot of. I mean, this is the thing with New York. I love it, but the scene, yeah, is was different, a little bit more different than I expected. But yeah, obviously lots of like Rockwood shows and Pete's Candy Store, and
Right.
all the great local spots. Yeah,
Where did
yeah,
you
and
live
then
when you were here?
I lived in Williamsburg,
Yeah,
like off the in between the Lorimer and Graham L train stops. Yeah,
we just gave. My wife has had an apartment in South Williamsburg for
yeah.
10 years, and we just ditched it
No,
and
yeah,
got a different apartment, so she didn't have to go up to the fifth floor with all of her bags
right,
more.
right, yeah,
Uh, but we're up in the Hudson Valley now, which is
nice.
wonderful, especially
Yeah,
now. But
yeah.
New York is a weird place.
I love it, but it
It's
is weird.
Did you like to live there? I mean, I love it also. I don't want to I don't want to live in the city unless I make a lot of money.
Yeah, yeah. I think I think certainly living in Brooklyn is like you know the way to do it if yeah, unless you're a millionaire. Um, I loved it, loved it to bits. Always kind of wanted to move to New York, and so when it happened, I just felt like I was living a dream every day. So yeah, I loved it to bits. But yeah, certainly the music scene wasn't exactly what I was looking for, and yeah, it wasn't exactly what I was expecting. So yeah,
When you showed up here, were you expecting that you would get more studio work or more night gig work or tour work?
I think I was hoping for more pop and tour work. I had been on the road with a band called Bleachers, not with them, but with Charli XCX, and we were doing a co-headline tour with them. And they were all guys that lived in New York, so and they were all like, "Yeah, you should do it. You should move." I was talking to them about it, and they were just like, "Yeah, you'll do great here." And so yeah, I think I just thought I didn't realize how much of the scene was so heavily weighed in LA because I was meeting musicians from New York, but I think that was it. Like, yeah, there just wasn't as much work there. That's just the sad truth of it. It's just like the pop sessions and the stuff that I was kind of looking for was less there. I think if you've got a project, you're in a band like Bleachers that you're busy with, great, and you're all based there, great. But for somebody like me, hired gun, hopping around things, there just wasn't as much there as I'd hoped.
Did you ever consider Nashville?
I didn't. Again, because I thought pop stuff. It's just all right. Well, if I'm not going to be in New York, then I should be in LA. But I really like Nashville. It's cool. Um,
I appreciate that you saw the path of like, I want to play bass for people who are doing a thing. I was always such a dipshit. I was like, no, I want to start a band.
that's
And
cool.
that's a really hard route to go because that's like starting a business.
Yeah,
I would never do that again.
yeah.
Although I I threaten and fantasize about it, but it's a terrible idea. Kids,
It's
listen.
yeah, it is. It's a thing, and I had been in a band in London, um, that didn't work out, and I think that kind of put me off for a bit. I just thought, what, it's so much easier. I just show up to a session. I know what I've got to play. I turn up, I play it, and then great. I'm having a great time, but that's the extent of my involvement. Um, so yeah, I knew the session thing was what I wanted to continue to do.
What was your experience like when you went from, and when did you get the Charli XCX gig? You were
That
still in
was
London?
yeah, in London around 2014. Um, sorry, what did you ask? What was my experience
What
in
was your
London?
experience? So you had been just sort of playing around London, and then all of a sudden you were going on tour.
Yeah, I mean, I had been playing around London and also doing some touring with artists for a couple of years already. Yeah, artists like Josh Kumra. We'd done a big tour in Germany, opening up for One
Oh,
Republic, and yeah, lots of tours with people. But yeah, more so probably that I was opening up for people. So yeah, I'd been doing hired gun stuff for a bit, but yeah, I suddenly hadn't got to come out to America before Charli was the first, like, yeah, really international thing.
then you realized how much dead space there was between the cities here.
Yeah, yeah. Oh my god, just yeah. I mean, touring in America was mad. I mean, to be fair, a lot of the times with her, though, we're on a bus driving through the night, so it probably wasn't even until a few years when I lived in America that I was doing like a van tour, and yeah, to drive through Texas and just realize how big it is. Um,
It
yeah,
takes 2 days to drive across Texas,
yeah, it's mad.
right?
It's mad. It's yeah. This country is insane. It's huge.
Okay, then scratch the last question. What was your first tour like?
My first tour was when I was 19, and um, I was petrified, but having a great time.
Yeah,
We were opening up for an artist called Paolo Nutini at kind of like 3 to 5 thousand probably capacity venues, maybe a little bit, maybe more on the three side, but yeah, seemingly it was quite a big jump from shows I had done before, in small clubs or bars,
sure.
pubs, and yeah, it was great. It was a really good first tour. Yeah, and I just remember being quite scared every night, working through the pre-stage jitters because yeah, it was just such a big change of audience.
Right.
But it was so much fun. Hello, puppy.
Mr. Big, he typically makes an appearance in every episode. He's also known as Biggie or Mr. Lickety, as you can see. That's He's a big licker.
So
The
sweet.
big licker.
The big lick.
The big licker. I love you, Mr. Big. Um, when you went on your, I mean, I guess I didn't have the luxury of going to school, or I didn't make the choice to go to a school. I probably, who am I kidding? I wasn't qualified to go to music school or any school for that. But did they teach you the important things that weren't precisely musical? Like show up to your gig on time, have shit that works, have a set of backup strings. Like, did they square you away on all that stuff?
I'm sure my teachers would have said bits and pieces, but I certainly think there's so much of that I learned through experience. And quite often now I'll do talks or masterclasses for these music schools or the school that I went to, and those are the things that I harp on about the most to the kids. Is just I'm going to tell you everything that I wish I was told, and yeah, and they're just the simple little things that are what gets you gigs and keeps you on gigs.
Right. Learn the material.
Yeah,
show up prepared,
Yeah.
know it inside and out.
Yeah.
That's really important.
All the things that sound so simple, I think, and I guess there's just maybe a level of maturity that, and just having to learn things yourself, that is part of that. But all these things that sound obvious and you hear them, but actually putting them into practice is something different, you know.
I know so many musicians who are incredible, really, really talented folks. And many of them no one has ever heard of and probably never will, you know. And I often think about it. I think about I've been lucky. I got to do some really I've I've done really cool stuff. Um Maybe I'll do more cool stuff. Maybe I won't. I don't know. You know, maybe I'll die tomorrow. Fuck, what do I know? But what I know is that a lot of people who are way better than I am, way more talented, way skinnier and better looking and just like easier to be around, never got opportunities. And what do you think it is that allows people to get gigs and keep gigs while other folks struggle and flounder? Or do you think it's just commitment?
I mean, it's so many things, I'm sure, and you know, I'm sure I'm not even totally qualified to say myself. I'm sure there's things that I do wrong, but I guess that's it. Over the years of being in this industry, you know, I've seen things that I know I appreciate other people doing, or things that hopefully people have appreciated in me, and
Surely you've seen some things you don't appreciate as
well,
well.
and that as well, right? So you see exactly, you see how people act weird, or and then you're like, I mean, yeah, for an example, I can think of one recently, doing a show for a singer, and the guitar player is incredible, but has shown up late, has not really learned the parts, doesn't even have a cable for their guitar, and you know, like so many of those things are excusable, but if you haven't learned it, then it's just like, well, now you're like, just our rehearsal is taking an hour longer because of you, and that's just a real quick way to make enemies, you know.
It just doesn't sound like the person wants the gig very badly.
Well, and that again, and I suppose if you turn up, and I guess it's all about attitude, isn't it? If you turn up and you are just honest with people and be like, you know, look, hey guys, I've been slammed this week. I've had to do other work, so like I'm a little bit, you know, I'm maybe a little bit unsure of this, you know, but you know, just tell me if I'm doing something wrong or something. I think it's just all about that attitude, right? You could be unprepared, but deal with it in a way that hopefully people will be understanding. You know, like we're all
Right.
humans. We've all got shit going on, you know. But
Have you
yeah,
ever
I
been
don't know.
on a tour where someone got chicken or beefed?
What does that mean? Fired?
Yeah. Chicken or beef, yeah. Like that's what they're gonna ask you on your flight home.
I've
Huh?
never heard that expression. That's
Oh,
great.
it's great. It's one of my favorites.
Oh, I love it. Chicken or beefed. Amazing. I'm gonna use that all the time now.
When someone starts acting up, you just say, "Hey, chicken or beef?"
That's such a good thing to say. Yeah, I've never heard that. I don't know that I've ever experienced anybody getting sent home, but I feel like I've experienced maybe somebody having a bit of a talking to.
Yeah.
And probably large. I think in that instance, maybe they were getting a little bit too drunk after shows. Um,
Everyone's got to be on the bus together.
yeah, just generally not being super self-aware. Um, yeah, I'm trying to think if there
It's
was
hard.
anything
It's
else.
like being in a submarine crew,
Yeah, it is hard
right?
because that's it. You do have to be kind of self-aware and not on your best behavior, but you know, on a certain degree of behavior. all the time. You know,
You have a preferred bunk?
I like the middle front. If you're facing the driver, like driver's side.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I like all the way in the back,
You like all the way in the back.
bottom.
Right.
I always like the bottom bunk.
Why is that?
It's easy. In the morning, when you wake up and you're like, you don't ever have to worry about making a misstep and falling down and breaking a a thing. These
You
are
can
things you think
crawl
about
into
when
it.
you're old. Yeah.
Yeah.
Uh, yeah, it's just easier, I think.
Yeah. I think I like middle because I like to be able to like lay my stuff out and
Oh yeah, no, that's
I have too much stuff. That's like when touring resumes, that's like a resolution is like just travel a little bit lighter. Um
what
so
do you
yeah,
bring?
just
I've done 3-month tours with, I mean, I have the same backpack for the last 15 years.
great.
It's like a kid's school bag.
Oh,
It's like it's wash my line. It looked like a fucking like a Kentucky like clothesline, like people hanging their clothes out in our bus. It was just like clothes drying all over in the dressing room.
really.
Oh yeah, it was great. Hand wash your clothes every night. And then it's a little, unsightly, but you you bring a lot less.
Yeah. Yeah.
And you never have to think it's like you have 3 shirts.
Yeah.
That's those are your choices. Which one's it gonna be? It's not like, I loved it.
Yeah. No, traveling light is good, but you also don't want to be on the road and be like, oh, I should have brought that, I should have brought this, and then having to like buy it all.
You also don't wanna be like, "Oh, I wish I woulda washed those socks."
Yeah, and be smelly. Yeah, you gotta have a because this is it. Laundry is always the struggle, right? So you don't you need to not smell. Another tour tip.
On the occasion that you have a day off on the road, what are you doing?
It's a good question. It depends, right? I love to have. It's funny. I guess some depending on who you're touring with, some people on a day off want to just absolutely not see anybody, right? You're with these
Right.
people all the time, day in, day out, and that's it. You just have a day away from them is completely what you need. But I think luckily I'm always on tours where I really like everybody and I'm quite a social person. So I love to just absolutely spend another day with everybody. And I'm thinking about a tour I did last year with a band called Hey Violet. Like we found like a escape room for the day, or like you go bowling or something. Like I
Right.
love that. I think that's important as well because it's like as much as yeah you are spending all that time with those people. Like those are the days that you're like bonding and
You're doing fun things that aren't to the express purpose of the gig,
yeah, yeah.
right?
But but then also if you happen to be in a place where you've got friends and you're able to do something else, like I can think about a time in Australia. We had a day off, and I had a friend that lived there, so he drove. Yeah, actually, somebody from the crew came with us, but yeah, like he drove me and another friend and somebody from the crew to Byron Bay, and it was beautiful. So
Where's
doing
that?
things like that in Australia, it's somewhere on the east coast, and it's just beautiful beach, and so yeah, having the chance to do something like that is great. Or I can think of another day off we had on the Tom Bailey tour where we had a day off with just about enough time to drive to the Grand Canyon and back. So we did
I've
that.
never seen Grand Canyon.
Oh, you gotta go. It's just what a treat to have that as your day off.
Right.
Yeah,
You
they're the
were
days that I do.
in Phoenix?
We were in, I think it's Flagstaff was where our
Flagstaff.
day off was.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
yeah, so we drove up from there, and yeah, just what an absolute treat that that's your day off, you know.
There's a lot of crazy stuff to see.
Oh yeah.
We did once go a few hours out, way out of our way, a few hours out of our way to see the painted forest, or the petrified forest, painted forest. Is it the same thing?
I don't know. I don't know that. What is it?
It's in the Southwest. I don't know. We were on our way to Arizona, I swear. The painted forest. It's
Okay.
petrified, and then they're prehistoric glyphs, right? They're like paintings.
I don't even know. This is
Yeah.
it. This is what I'm saying. There's so much
This
in this
is in
country.
America. This is America.
Yeah. No. You guys have got a lot of good things to see. Yeah.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
And so now this year has been a real bugger.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Great use
This,
of the word.
this year has been a bugger. It nobody's touring.
Yeah.
Some people here and there are playing the odd gig. I have friends in Texas that gig semi regularly. I think that they're doing it responsibly. I hope they're doing it responsibly. Um, what have you done to stay busy? It's hard because you can lose your mind this year.
Yeah.
Doesn't seem to be getting close to being over. I don't know. What the fuck
Yeah.
do I know?
No, you're right. This is it. People keep booking things and keep rescheduling them, and I think it's hard because you want to hope that things are going to get better, but it's also important to be realistic with your expectations, and so you can make best use of this time, right? Like, um, yeah. I mean, for me, staying busy has been, about having my own. I mean, doing lots of things just to, make sure I've got hopefully a roof over my head.
It's
You know,
important.
yeah.
I like to live indoors.
I like to live indoors as well.
I like to use the restroom indoors as
Yeah,
well.
yeah, that's a treat, you know. So teaching and just doing whatever else, and I've had a couple of gigs here and there, like live stream things, which have been blessings. But yeah, of course, it's just totally changed. Um, but yeah, I mean, also for me, it's been like doing personal projects and things that I've been always wanting to do for a while but hadn't had time for. So things like, I'm gonna be doing my own podcast, which I've told you about, my touring podcast, which is ironic because now we're not touring.
Well, it's a nice thing to reminisce about, and it's a fun way to connect with people, right?
Yeah, yeah.
That's one of the things that I've appreciated most about doing this podcast, which I never wanted a podcast.
Why did you do it?
What's that?
Why did you decide to do a podcast then?
Well, I was doing I mean, I guess people call video things podcasts as well, but I was doing a video thing and I just wanted to do that. Like it was just
Right.
fun, and that's all I wanted to do was have fun. And then I moved out of the city and I had a lot less access to people. So it sort of became necessary, really.
Yeah.
And
Yeah,
it
I mean,
was
it's
something for me to do. I don't know very many people up here,
right.
you know. But tell me about your podcast because this is fun.
Yeah, so my podcast is called Where Are We Again, which is based around the question
Right.
you have to ask somebody when you're on tour and you've lost your mind and you're sleep deprived and you bizarrely, genuinely forget where you are. So you have to you have to turn to somebody next to you and go, "Where are we again?" And yeah, it's I started whereareweagain.com as a blog to do written interviews because I wanted to start writing for magazines, And honestly, I didn't have a portfolio, so I thought, well, I'll just start my own thing and interview people, and I love writing, but I think it was always a shame that I would have these great chats with people. I'd record them and then, start to write out the interview. But you'd miss all the sort of funny jokes and the way somebody said something, and it just, yeah, it was screaming to be a podcast. And so I started doing interviews, and yeah, the angle is kind of what goes on tour doesn't stay on tour anymore. It's that I'm I don't want to disrespect
For better
the
or worse.
yeah, I don't want to disrespect the rule, but like if people want to share with me any of their tour stories, then of course, like I want to chat about them and hear, and also just like people's genuine experience, the challenges of touring, um, yeah, just what that means. Yeah, and just yeah, all the fun stories, and yeah, like you said, a chance to get to chat to people is great. And it's such a I always think it's such a blessing I get to tour and meet all these people. Like doing photography and like shooting the show is something I've always done, because it just feels like there's all this wonderful stuff going on the road. It's like, how do I make the most of this experience? So in the past it was shooting the live concert photography, but now, yeah, I want to, yeah, just chat with everybody that I've been lucky enough to meet and hear their stories.
Did you bank a bunch of episodes before you got started?
So yeah, I've got a few in the bank now that I'm getting ready for the grand release, which the first one should be going out on February 12th.
Amazing.
Yeah.
This will come out next week, and so it'll
Great.
be a nice lead in. I can push it
Yeah.
back to closer to your launch if you want. Whatever you want. You're the guest of honor.
I mean, you could perhaps. I don't know. Yeah, that perhaps might be better. I suppose if then people hear it
Wait
and go
till
check it out straight away.
the Monday after.
Yeah, sure.
I
But
don't
whatever
even know what
whatever
day
works
it
for
is.
you.
You're the boss.
Yeah, well, maybe after then it could be cool.
Have you so you've had a good time so far with it?
Yeah, I've had a good time, but as I'm sure you know, I think getting that first one ready and getting that initial setup, I think it's going to be easier after the first one, but it's taken a lot. It's just been things like, cool, I had a theme tune, but now I need to change that, for a reason, and so now I've got to redo that. It's just getting it out the door is just been a bit tricky, but it's yeah once I think that first one's out, it's going to be just really really easy to
You'll land
have
on
that
like
system.
a format and a system and everything. You figured out who will populate all the places with it, or are you going to do it manually?
I need to do that actually, because I know there's a few places that Anchor, or there's a bunch of places, right? And yeah, I mean, what do you do? I'm gonna switch the interview around to you now. What's your top tips?
I started using Libsyn, which is
Oh yeah, I've heard about that one.
for-
Yeah.
yeah,
You like that?
I do. It's not as user friendly and it costs money. It's not free,
Yeah.
but I realized after a certain bit of time, I still use Anchor for my other podcast,
Hmm.
but after a while, I realized that this was going to be a better option for me. And
Yeah.
it was a smooth transition over mostly. Um,
Okay. So you'd recommend Libsyn?
yeah, but if here's what I think. If you know in your heart 110% that this is something that you're going to do for a long time, start it on Libsyn. But if you're like, I'll see how it goes. I like it. I'm having fun. But who knows? Once touring starts, maybe I won't have time to dedicate myself to it and grow this. Do it with Anchor. It's a
Yeah.
it's a fine way to go. Um, they don't shortchange you or anything,
Yeah. And do you say that just because Libsyn's more expensive to use?
Yeah, it costs money. That's a
Mm.
thing. Um, and there aren't like the ad opportunities. You have to have a lot of streams to get ad opportunities. So
On Libsyn.
on Libsyn. So sort
Mm.
out your own ads.
Right.
If you have relationships with music, like equipment or like fucking tour supply or
Yeah.
whatever,
Yeah.
get Dunlop on board or whoever you work with.
Yeah.
Are you,
Yeah, that's the next step is figuring all that out. Yeah.
yeah. Um, yeah, but it's fun. You're gonna have a great time.
Yeah.
You're gonna have a really good time, and I'll bet you're really good at it.
Thank you. I'm really enjoying it. I think but that's it. It has just been this learning curve of all right, how do I do this? What's the format? How do I whittle an episode down? And I know the first one I taped, we just chatted for far too long and it made it really difficult to edit. And you sort of think, oh, I'll be able to edit that out, but then the conversation doesn't make sense and just things like that and learning just how to interview somebody better, I think it's a whole thing.
I figured out a long time ago that I'm never going to be a great interviewer. All I want to do is have conversations like we meet at a party. I want it to feel like that. I want it to vibe like you meet someone for the first time.
I think that's actually what makes you a good interviewer, though. From listening to your
Um,
podcasts, I think
well,
I think that's the point, right? It's just having a conversation.
yeah.
When it feels like an interview is then suddenly when you don't get natural things coming.
What gauge strings do you use?
Yeah,
I don't know.
yeah,
I have a bunch of basses. I don't know what gauge strings there are on them.
yeah.
I don't
It's
even
fun.
know. Like really, I'm
Yeah.
a dumbass. Like I am naive and ignorant about I know what strings I use because I've used them for 25 years.
Yeah. Yeah.
Mm,
Most people don't care about those details, do they?
no. My sister certainly doesn't. And I guess that's what I started to realize. But the thing is, everyone here's the edge you have. Everyone wants to know what's going on behind the scenes, backstage, what are people up to?
Yeah.
Because even if you're on a Disney tour or a rated G, I mean, a lot of gnarly things go on Disney tours. But even if you're on a G-rated tour, there's there's a lot of room for naughty stories or
Mm-hmm.
just like fun stories or just people like getting wild
Yeah.
or just whatever or like
Yeah.
I don't know, people want to know this stuff,
Yeah.
everyone, musicians and non-musicians.
That's what I'm hoping it will appeal to everybody. But yeah, I need to start interviewing people that aren't session musicians because they're so afraid of like saying something and like that's what I've realized. I need to talk to like band people or people that just don't give a fuck.
Right. Well, yeah, if you say the wrong thing, it could affect you. If what you say gets back to someone, it could affect your
Yeah,
ability to get a gig or fill in the blank.
of
I'm
course.
usually
Yeah.
pretty careful about talking shit about people, but everyone knows I don't like Scott Ian.
Who's Scott Ian?
Yeah, exactly.
I
Huh?
don't.
Huh?
I don't
Hey, look, right there. There's my sound bite for the show. I love it. That was great.
Who is
You're the
he?
best
Should
guest
I
ever.
know? Should I know?
He's the guitar player for Anthrax. He's just been rude to me a few
Mm,
times. Consistently.
yeah.
I don't know if he even realizes, but that would make it even worse. Like if
Right.
you realize it, I'd be like, whatever. What do I care? Not my business if he
Mm.
doesn't like me. But if he just was completely an unaware prick, then that's almost worse. Like that's just who you are.
Is that what? Yeah, I don't know.
I
Yeah.
don't know. But other than him, I'm pretty careful. because I always imagine, well, maybe they'll be a guest on the show and I'll have an amazing conversation with them, even if I've had a bad experience with them in the past.
Yeah.
So you're smart already. You're way ahead of me. Clearly you're a lot smarter than me. We established that in the first 10 minutes.
Oh, stop. Yeah. No, that's it. It's not about bitching or trying to get dirt on anybody. It's just more like, is that story about that person being drunk gonna
right
be something they regret sharing or whatever, but hey, like, I don't know.
Have you gotten some stories like that yet?
I'm trying to think. I don't know that I have. I think this is why I'm saying I need to start interviewing.
You need like some PG-13 stories.
Well, just for example,
or like some NC-17 story.
when I interviewed my friend Sandy, who played bass with One Direction, and not for a podcast, just for written stuff, and I know there were so many more stories that he didn't tell me, and there was something that I had done in the write-up just about how like One Direction are a lot more kind of punk than you'd expect them to be, and
how old are those guys, or were they when they blew up?
Well, this is it now. They're probably, oh God, maybe they're actually way younger than I think. I think at the time, they were all like 18, 19, 20. So
I imagine that boys or girls, because let's not confuse them with men and women. They're young. They're kids, right? To all of a sudden be popular on that level, and not on an internet level. Like there are people who are famous on the internet, but that's different than standing on a stage in front of 25,000 people. Agreed?
Yeah. Yeah, that's an insane rise to fame.
There's a completely different level of commitment between someone clicking a follow button and traveling to a venue to see someone because they're a follower of them. That's just a fact. That's science fact.
One story he did tell me, which was great, was about them being in a hotel, and these two girls, the hotel staff, they were walking around the hotel, and they thought they were a little bit fishy. Obviously security was really tight. So hotel staff got them and pulled them aside, and the girls also had this suitcase they were carrying around. Hotel staff pulled them aside, opened up the suitcase. There was another girl inside the suitcase. Like, I don't know, they're trying to like smuggle her into a room somewhere or something. I don't know.
First of all, if someone wanted to look in my suitcase, I would tell them to fuck off.
I guess if it's hotel staff and they think
but
you're
I
fishy,
guess if it was balanced and smelled like cheap teenage perfume, that would be a giveaway, right?
I thought that was great though. That was the level that the girls were going to maybe try and get into the hotel room or just the hotel of one of these band members.
The problem is I mean, some kids know what they're getting themselves into, and I think that some kids don't know what they're getting themselves into when they are trying, they're trying to chase down their favorite pop or rock star. And oh God, it's just it just makes me really uncomfortable and sad.
It's interesting, isn't it? The fandom.
It's fucking insane.
Yeah.
I've been a fan of a lot of things in my life, both real and fictional, but never been a maniac,
Yeah.
as far as you know.
Yeah, yeah.
Never been a maniac.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. It's weird. It's a very weird thing, you know, from early like Beatlemania to the One Direction fans now. It's just a strange thing.
But on the other side, there are these, and I think it goes for these boys and girls who are on the stage side. You know, they're not any more mature than the fans. Maybe a year or two older, probably a lot older than a lot of the fans, but they don't have the tools to deal with what's being thrown at them.
No,
Not that
yeah,
that excuses terrible behavior,
yeah.
but they just don't have the experience to process these things.
Yeah, and I will say for every, you know, me making comments that they're, you know, more punk than you would think, I actually don't think they behaved terribly. They did
Yeah.
normal things. They got in trouble for smoking weed. Like, somebody
Right.
got pregnant like that. You know, I don't think
8-year-old kid
that's,
stuff.
yeah, I don't think that's anything to frown at, really. That's just what's going to happen. At the very least, it's like more things should have gone wrong, really, you
Can
know?
you imagine if everyone on Earth got thrown under the magnifying glass when
Oh,
they
yeah.
behaved like that?
Yeah.
Like not on the familial level or your neighborhood or whatever, your neighbors whispering, like the daily news,
Hmm.
you know? I mean,
Yeah.
that probably made news of the world, right? Is that what it's called?
Yeah.
That, I mean, they were a huge deal.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
I never want that kind of pressure.
God, no. No, you can absolutely see. I mean, some people want fame. That's never been me. But yeah, and that's a great example of why. Just absolutely
What do you want from
insane.
music?
What do I want from music?
Yeah.
It's a good question. Just to experience it. Just, yeah, I mean, music, you know, I'm sure you've had the same experiences, just something that moves me and I love and is just special, and you can't explain it, the way it makes you feel. Um, and I think getting to be a musician is just such a blessing that I get to, you know, not just hear music but get to be a part of it and sing that harmony or play that bass line that moves me and hopefully moves other people. Yeah, I think I just want to be a part of it, and that's what I want to spend my time doing.
I think you're going to continue to get great opportunities.
I hope so.
Yeah.
I hope so.
And
Yeah.
that's the that's that's what we all hope for, right?
Yeah.
Music is such a weird thing because what is the artsiest music that you're into? Because
Good question.
because you studied popular music and performance, and you've performed popular styles of music. Like you haven't done any free jazz gigs, right?
No. I'm trying to think what's the
You're not in Sun Ra's
artsiest.
orchestra.
I don't know that I'm actually even. Oh God, I feel like I ought to have a better answer for this.
I mean, Blur was kind of artsy.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, yeah. I guess I'm thinking like way more outside of normal. Yeah.
I mean, Laurie Anderson is artsy. Hell, Saint Vincent is artsy.
Yeah. You're right. You're right. I think. I'm just like low key scrolling. Do my Instagram? My goodness, Instagram have just
You're getting old.
brainwashed
You
me.
fucking spend an hour and a half with me, and you've got Alzheimer's.
Spotify is what I meant to be saying. I think, well, even artsy, just for an example, I mean, there's a band that I'm actually kind of working with in a non-musical sense at the moment. I'm I've interviewed them and I'm helping them make a commentary album for an album they made. They're a band called Foria, and they just released this like neoclassical album. And yeah, in a sense, that feels quite artsy. Some of the conversations I've had with them about, you know, their process and their intentions, and how much it's been such a deliberate body of work, and, you know, without lyrics, how they've gotten so much across. I guess that's one thing I can think of that feels artsy in the sense that it's about this art of making an album.
When you say neoclassical, do you mean just, am I to understand like neoclassical, like Yngwie Malmsteen is neoclassical, or neoclassical like a, a chamber orchestra?
Yeah, more like modern classical, like with a 12-piece ensemble kind of thing. Yeah.
Big difference. Thank you.
Big difference. Big difference. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I don't know. You had that trivium thing going on earlier. So
Right. Yeah,
what the
yeah,
fuck do I know?
Yeah. Artsy's like, yeah, we're like Bowie and yeah, this band Foria and
Did you get into that project in a similar way that you were motivated to do the writing and the podcast?
yeah. Yeah. Um I got into doing that project because I've been working with a label that they're signed with. So I've kind of been on board with them doing a few things, and but yeah, it was just interesting. I was talking to this singer just about the record, and just he was sharing so many great stories, and I think it's because of, you know, doing interviewing and writing and podcasting that then I was just like, well, hold on, we should be recording this. You know, this is interesting. Yeah, and I think that's just a whole new passion and skill that I want to work on. Is yeah, it's just interviewing and chatting with people. Like, who knew that that's a legitimate skill, you know? Yeah, I just find it so interesting. I think yeah, interviewing is such an art, and yeah, these conversations that I've gotten to have with so many musicians behind closed doors. Yeah, it's just amazing to think, actually, what if we can record these and other people can hear them too?
I remember the first time I heard about the concept of a podcast, and it sounded like such a lofty, pretentious load of horse crap to me. And I was like, you got to be kidding me. You guys are going to record, you're just going to sit around and have conversations and then post them on the internet and expect people to listen? This was almost 20 years ago. It
Yeah.
was about 20 years ago. These two friends of mine, uh and they said, yeah. And I was like, you guys are assholes. Look at
No,
me.
you're right. You're right. There is that element of it feeling maybe a little bit self-indulgent. But I don't know, when it's about a band or something that, you know, people have an interest in, great. If people want to hear it, then
When
okay.
I'm driving, sometimes I don't want to listen to music. I don't want to be challenged.
Right.
Sometimes just hearing voices talk is
Hmm.
really good.
Yeah.
And I love it. I think that you have a lovely voice. It's super easy to
Thank
talk
you.
to. You're going to be fucking great.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Yeah, I hope so. Fingers crossed.
Um, what else? Are you working on anything else this year? You have solo music you're working on?
Yeah, I have solo music that I'm working on for sure. I've released some music in the past under my stage name Ainslie, which is the name of the street that I used to live in Brooklyn.
Mm-hmm.
And but I want to move on from that a little bit. That's more like a kind of pop project, and I think I've been working on a lot of music that feels, more. This is gonna sound dark, but
Death metal.
I've say it again.
Death metal.
Yeah, it's been death metal. No, but you say death. I've been jokingly calling it the Death EP because it's kind of, if I knew I had a month to live, it's like what music would you want to leave behind? I feel like that's probably an attitude you should always have when making music. Maybe, I don't know. But which sounds mad.
None of us think about the end, like, the end, or not what happens to us. I mean, people think about that shit all the time. I don't care. But
Yeah.
what happens here after I'm gone?
Yeah.
And not that I care about what people think, but what what do you leave behind?
Yeah, and I think it's just, oh yeah, obviously you'll be dead and you won't know any better anyway. But like, let's say, I don't know. Let's say you're gonna die. You've got a month. How do you go feeling at peace with yourself, right? You want to have like said the things you want to say to the people you love or hate or whatever it is you want to say. You want to see the things you want to see. And yeah, and then this for me is just like, okay, well, this is the music that I would want to record. Yeah, and I don't know. I mean, that, not that I think the world needs my legacy in any way, but I think it's more like a person, yeah, like it's like a personal piece. Like, yeah, what would I feel? You know,
Was
it's
that
so
inspired
dark.
by? Well, this has been a dark ass year. I don't know if you looked outside or paid attention to the news, but it has been a dark motherfucker.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, I mean, at least everyone has had to consider their own mortality in the last year, even fucking deniers.
Mm-hmm. For sure, that's it. This yeah, the concept of my death EP is more real than ever because it's like, well, could die.
Did you conceptualize it before COVID came along?
Literally, I think the like month before COVID, I was in New York and I had this conversation with my friend Tim, and he was like, "Yeah, that's kind of crazy. You should probably start working on that." And I was like, "Yeah, shit, I should." So, but it's funny. On one hand, it's like, well, surely that's something I should be doing. I could die tomorrow. Like I should be doing that every minute of every day. But I've also come to a bit of a maybe not conclusion, but I've come to a place where I don't know. We were in such a world where we rush everything, and this has got to be out then. And you should be doing this, blah blah blah. But I've definitely, and in speaking with this band for you about making their record, they really took their time. A lot of those songs on their record were like 10 years old, and
Wow.
it's kind of great that it's like they took so long to let something sit and develop and be really sure about it and be really proud of it. So yeah, on one hand, I'm desperate to get out there, but on the other hand, I'm very much like, well, you know what, like maybe this isn't about rushing something, it's about getting it right. And hey, we've got this year of sitting inside, so hopefully, as long as we don't die, what is the rush?
That's it. And as I've gotten older, I realize if I had a month to live, I don't think that I would rush out to tell people all the things that they need to hear. I've been trying to just tell people what they need to hear now.
Yeah.
Cause I could die in a car accident. Fuck. What do I know?
For sure.
that should be the name of this podcast. What the fuck do I know? Um, but you know, uh, maybe this is maybe this is what happens to old white guys. I don't know, but I'm at this point where I'm like, uh, I am I am I is this what wisdom is? I don't think so because I don't feel very smart. And I think maybe that's what wisdom is the to know that I don't know enough to know better about anything.
Yeah.
Jesus Christ, this is
Yeah. No, that's that sounds right.
this terrible
No,
radio.
we've gotten very abstract. No, but it is a good thing to think about, right? Like it does sound dark, but like yeah, if there's all these things that you think you would do, you would rush to tell people, yeah, why aren't you saying them now, you know?
That's the thing. Well, it's not like most of us. I don't have a ton of time, but most of us don't have a shortage of time right now. People have plenty of time to reach out and not be assholes to each other. You know, uh, but alas,
They still continue.
it's amazing.
Yeah.
Um,
People might be more assholes now.
well, there. I mean, we can go down that road,
Yeah,
but
yeah. That's a whole
things
other
have gotten
conversation.
pretty. Uh, you know, America needs to get its nails clipped. You know, and America needs a haircut and a hair clipping, a nail clipping. It's maybe the tail feathers also need to.
Yeah.
Shit's gotten pretty wackadoo.
Little fade, little trips to barbers, all the things.
Seriously, clean. Get get your shit together, America. Come on now.
Yeah. It's trying.
Have you regretted moving here yet?
You know,
Has there been a moment when you've been like, "Fuck, maybe I fucked up. I should have stayed in London."
I mean, I could say that, but you know, London's very much
Right.
needs its nails clipping as well, you know. So I think the results of the election, you know, I was saying this to a friend the other day, like if that had turned out differently, it might have been harder for me to justify to people back home why I'm
Right.
here. You know, because yeah, the way people receive Trump in the UK is just everybody's on the same page, which is nice to all agree on something.
What's that like?
Yeah, I mean, this is it. You know, the UK is divided too, but we all agree. I think. Well, I say we all largely agree that that was a bit silly. So,
Let's just say, for instance, that next year you are back in London. Do you think that there are as many opportunities for you, or do you think you have to work that much harder there to make things work for you as a working musician?
I think that there are opportunities for sure, but um, I think there are better opportunities here, and that's why I'm here. You know, and I think people are very open minded here, and that's what I like about here. People are very encouraging. People are very open to collaborate. Um, yeah, everybody's like a little
Right.
entrepreneur here. I can't say that word. Goodness. Um,
Because you guys don't
and
like the French.
I find it very inspiring to be here. People are hard workers, and people people just aren't afraid to do things here. So it's a very different attitude in England, and it's something that it's the biggest difference. Um, and don't get me wrong, there's like people are doing great things there, and there are so many opportunities there, and it's great. But I think just in terms of like what you know I've wanted to do be in the pop industry and just be able to play shows. And the bass community is obviously so big here, and it's just it's great. Yeah, there's just lots going on.
Have you got to meet Flea?
I haven't. I I really would like to. I asked his school. He's got a music school nearby to me. I asked to see if they needed any teachers, but they didn't. So I'm gonna just keep asking if they need teachers.
That's it. That's
I reckon that's the way.
that's how I do it.
Yeah.
That's how
I would love to meet Flea. I really apart from him being an insane bass player, he seems like just a really cool human.
Did you read his book?
I haven't. I should. I really ought to.
Beautiful.
Yeah, I bet.
It is shockingly beautiful.
Yeah.
The way he writes.
Yeah.
And I don't think he's got a co-author or a ghostwriter. I think he is just a poetic man.
Yeah. Yeah, it's something I didn't realize until recently, but that's it. You're right. I think he is, this cool human poetic man who expresses himself really well in words as well as the bass,
incredible. I highly recommend it.
Yeah, great.
I swear to God, this will be your last question. I'm going to let you go, and you can actually go teach bass or play music or whatever it is you're going to
have a disco.
Live in the anarchist jurisdiction. Let's just say this is a fun question. I made it up just now. Let's say you've toured all over. You've been all over the world, yeah? You've been to Japan, Asia, and have you been to Russia?
I've been to Russia, yeah. The only place I haven't done much of is South America, Central America. But apart from that,
it's amazing.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
Yeah.
I've never been to Russia. I've never stepped foot on the African continent, and I really, really, really.
Oh, yeah, me neither, actually. So yeah, 2 places I haven't been. Yeah.
Let's just say the UK and America sink into the ocean. Mm-hmm. Where would you go live? What's your top choice? You get away safely. You don't sink in the ocean and die.
Great.
So you can't say Atlantis because,
Right. I think the first thing that popped into my head when you said that was Australia, just because it's lovely, and I suppose, like, I don't know, for a British person maybe that's just like a easy answer, but actually Paris or Tokyo.
Are there music opportunities in Paris though?
Probably not.
But
if America and the UK sunk into the ocean, then I'm probably not going to be a touring musician anymore anyway. So.
Yeah, a lot of things have changed.
So I'll just, I don't know, like bake bread or something in Paris. Yeah, I would love to. I sort of always joke that I've done London, New York, LA. Like Paris is the last one I need to do. Love Paris. I'd love to do that. Yeah, Tokyo would be incredible.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, or south of France. Even Amsterdam. I love Amsterdam. Could live there quite happily. Anywhere really. I don't know. Where would you go?
Maybe Barcelona.
Oh,
or somewhere else in. Oh, come here. This is the other dog.
I was going to say that the dog grew, but no, it's a different dog.
This is Rosie. She's a talker. Mr. Big is a licker, and Rosie is a talker. So she'll probably cry a little bit, like whine. But she's
very shiny.
Yeah. Yeah, they both have great coats. Yeah. They got a great head of hair. I love Spain. I don't know what it is about Spain that I love, but I've never been anywhere in Spain that I didn't like.
Yeah.
I love Paris also.
Yeah.
Tokyo might be a little hectic for me. Right. Although I've never had a bad time there. I love to go there.
I guess some places are great to visit, but actually, would you want to live there?
Right.
Maybe not.
everywhere, almost everywhere is great to visit, right?
Yeah.
I think. Even if it's even if it's an unwelcoming place or a dangerous place, I think it's good to visit places like that.
Yeah.
Because even if you don't enjoy it, it probably gives you some perspective on
For sure.
where you live already, you know. Like maybe you're like, man, fuck my neighborhood. There's trash on the street. And then you go somewhere that's actually gnarly and you're like, you know, South Williamsburg, not that bad. You know, every once in a while you step in human shit, no big deal. Whatever. What you know, things are tough all over. Could be worse.
That's hilarious. For sure. For sure. Perspective is everything.
Well, when Rosie jumps on my lap, it's always a sign that she needs to walk. Because although she's a whiner, she's not that needy. She likes to get a pet every once in a while, and she likes to talk. But she definitely she wants to go out right now. Rosie, do you want to say hi? Look over here. Look, Rosie.
She's like,
Don't
I'm
lick
looking
me.
at you.
We're
I only
friends,
have
but we
eyes
don't
for
lick
you.
each other.
Hello, Rosie.
We don't lick each other because you lick your butt and you're gross. Yeah. Okay. All right. I really had a great time talking with you.
Me
And
too.
I wish you 150,000% success in your podcast and in your death EP. And I hope that you can get out touring again and meeting more and more people for your podcast.
Yeah. Thank you. Me too.
And also, you crushed it on Cherub Rock. That was so fun, and you got it done so quickly. Lately, I mean, sometimes these things take months to get done. These videos.
Yeah. No, I am so thankful you asked me, and it was so much fun, and I enjoyed your crazy visuals. And the Smashing Pumpkins watched my story. Apparently, whoever does their socials, so that's fun.
I think that it's Billy.
Really?
That's what I hear. I hear he's pretty active on social media.
Well, that's exciting. And
Here's
yeah,
a
it
little
was
known
great.
fact. Here's something that I'll reveal now. Kirk, you know, I got the drums done. Kirk did his. Did you go next? Did you go before him? You didn't, did you?
I went after Kirk, yeah.
Yeah. So he got his parts done and sent him back, and he didn't do the guitar solo. I was kind of surprised. I was like, oh no, like I have to do it, because it's not like super technical or anything, but it's very Billy Corgan. It's very stylized and it's very iconic part. So I was like, fuck, I don't want to do it. It's like everyone's already an armchair quarterback. Everyone's going to sit back and take pot shots at you like, that's not how they did it in the 94 tour or whatever. Fuck off. So I sent him a message and was like, yeah, this is kind of weird, but I'd like you to be in this video and play just do the guitar solo. Would you do it? Would you just play the guitar solo in your own song? But I don't think he ever saw the message because they don't follow me. But I invited Billy Corgan to play that solo. I got crickets, so I had to do it reluctantly.
Wow. I mean, that would have been amazing. I mean, hey, look, the internet, somebody watched my story, so maybe we'll do it again. Maybe he watched it and he was just so disappointed that he missed out. But yeah, that would have been incredible. But yeah, no, you did a great job though, and it was great fun to do and great to play with Kirk. Kirk and I have jammed some of his music before, so it was fun to.
That was a fun crew. Do you know Isaac that played?
I don't know Isaac. No.
He's a man about town in LA.
Yeah.
Plays in the AWOL Nation band. He used to play with Who's the guy that was on the singing TV show that sang with Queen?
Oh, Adam Lambert.
He used to play with Adam Lambert.
Yeah. Oh, no, I didn't know that. Cool.
And he
Yeah.
played in a band with me also.
Fun.
Lowest on his resume.
Yeah. No, I love it. You have such a great pool of musicians that you grab for your
Tell your friends.
videos. It's great. Yeah, I
If you have
will.
friends that you think would want to play, like I try to mix it up. I try to get,
Yeah.
because I'm mostly in my touring career, I met, rock and metal players
Yeah.
and the odd indie rock person. But how boring is that? How boring is it to have a bunch of rock and metal, like 50-year-old rock and metal dudes do a Aussie song or whatever?
I mean, I think it's kind of cool, but yeah, by all
Like I don't
means.
want to do that. I want to have mixed bands playing songs that you wouldn't expect them to play.
Yeah, yeah, that's definitely cool. Yeah. Yeah, I'll
Tell your
certainly think of
friends.
some. I will. I'll think of some folks.
Yes.
Yes. Yeah, no, and
All
it's
right.
great. And again, I think people, it's funny because you've had this concept for a while, but obviously, like people recording these kind of home Zoom jam videos is obviously such a thing people are getting on board with now. So I think more than ever, people are like, oh, yeah, like open to the idea, right?
I mean, I actually did my first one 2 years ago, two
Right.
and a half years ago, and not as intricate. It was just guitar and bass,
Yeah.
but and then I didn't think anything of it, you know.
It's great. You chose an idea that's very relevant right now.
It's a very necessary. It's
Yeah.
really what it is.
Yeah,
I'd
yeah.
much rather be in a room with people playing music like everyone else.
Of course.
Yeah.
But it's great. And this is the thing, and I think that's the kind of the silver lining of this year and doing, things like you do is that you realize, okay, well oftentimes pandemic or no pandemic, you're not in the same place as other musicians. One of you's in Nashville. Like I've done that. So like the remote writing sessions that I've done have been with people in Nashville. So it's not
Uh,
like I would even be able to see them anyway.
right.
Um, so it's cool that it's like it opens up those opportunities to do stuff with people you wouldn't have normally collaborated
It
with.
got dark in LA.
I know, yeah,
It's nighttime there.
yeah. I know.
Jesus Christ, I've taken up your entire day. Thank you so much. I really appreciate you giving me so much time.
No, yeah, hope we didn't waffle on about anything for too long. Yeah, no, and
Can
any
you do me
weird
a
left
favor?
turns
Do you
we've
have
taken.
promo shots of you performing on stage?
Yeah,
I
yeah. Do
need
you want me to send you some?
something. You've seen some of the like dorky posts that I make.
I'll have a look to be
It's a
sure,
dorky
but
vibe, but it's my vibe.
okay. Yeah,
I
yeah, yeah.
basically destroy whatever great photo you send me. I remove the background and I put, fire behind you or some
Great.
shit.
Love that. Yeah, I liked being on top of the angel, by the way, actually. I did mean to say that. Yeah, great. Into it. Yeah, no, I can send you some pictures and you can
Great.
take my head off and put it on whatever you want.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
I might regret saying that.
Yeah, probably will. Well, have a great night.
Thanks.
And I'll touch base with you to schedule this close to your launch.
Thank you so much. That'd
All
be
right.
great. All
Take
right.
care.
Good to chat. Take care.